Hello and welcome back to a new Global Space Program video and a new episode in our collaboration series with benthebest5 and a new chapter in said colonisation series. benthebest5 has set out a new core module for a new colony ship in low Cuban orbit, and that's where we're going to continue in today's episode. However, a big question remains: where shall this colony ship go? What planetary body in the Kerbal system should we colonize next? It's your time to vote. Be sure to hit down the link in the description below to cast your vote, or in the top right corner in the info bar as well, or on any other social media platform where you can find the Spaceship YouTube channel. And with that, we have a beautiful booster separation, and by the way, for the very eagle eye among you, you've probably already noticed that, but in today's launch we're using a very special booster, not any regular orbital class or heavy payload class booster. No, we are using the big booster from benthebest5. So yes, we are actually using the same booster benthebest5 uses or used quite a lot in his videos, and that means it is recoverable, but more on that in just a few seconds. Apart from this little tiny sneak peek where we're just deploying the air brakes over there. But that's actually why we're going for a quite steep approach and not for a beautiful, gently turning gravity turn. We need this additional time to put the main payload with the second stage into a stable orbit before being able to switch back to the main, to the large booster itself and its return. As you hopefully have seen in benthebest5's videos, his boosters do not land propulsively like one of my boosters in this series a bit like a few weeks ago, but it is just brought back down gently with the help of beautiful parachutes and of course air brakes to slow down kind of from the initial supersonic velocities down that the parachutes can deploy, which for those who don't know, parachutes only deploy below Mark 1, and with a nice splashdown we can translate over to a beautiful scenery, and that is the map view, or well, yeah, map view you can call that. And today we're going to go over the basics again of rendezvous, since I actually, not quite on purpose, but after I realised that we did a perfect rendezvous, I thought we might as well touch up on that and discuss a bit how to go and do a pretty good rendezvous. So, first things first, we are in a lower orbit than our target orbit, which is indicated by the yellow line. And that means we are faster. That's where we spend a couple of orbits until we caught up with it, like with our target, with the first module of the colony ship. Then we plan the inclination change burn so that our both orbits, like our orbit and the orbit of our target, are on the same plane, so that we only have to worry about 2 out of the 3 dimensions that we're moving through. And then we accelerate in one part of orbit so that our apoapsis raises up until it touches the apoapsis, or generally the orbit of our target. Then we make a new maneuver at set of apoapsis to circularize and match the orbit of our target. And maybe we are a bit too early or a bit too late, well, primarily too early, since that's why we've actually waited a bit in the lower orbit to catch up with our target. Then we just press right click to open up the secondary menu of a maneuver node, and then click a few times +1 orbit until we reach a perfect intersect. And then we just time warp forward to our pretty intersect, and then we just have to cancel out all of our relative velocity. And that's what we did, and now we jumped forward, since I waited a few orbits, not a few orbits, just one orbit right next to our target so that we can dock in daylight. And then we can ditch our transfer stage with those beautiful Separatrons. It's sadly not quite enough to decelerate, decelerate enough to deorbit its stage. So that's why we actually switched over to it a bit and burned the engine for a couple of seconds until we deorbited and splashed down and push, so no space to be left. Perfect. jumping back to our main ship, we are now in a pretty nice docking approach. Sadly, I've used a bit too much of the RCS, so I used the RCS for the fine corrections, for the last couple of corrections on the actual core module or engine and fuel stage that benthebest5 has already put up in his video. So if you haven't seen actually his video yet, be sure to check that one out as well. There should be a link down in the description below, as well as in the top right corner. Beautiful, and with that we have docked our beautiful colony ship and the main section is completed. Just going to detach this small little tug that we've used to, well, have some RCS control, and ditch and remove the struts so that we can extend those beautiful gravity rings. Well, they are not gravity rings, but just some small crew passenger pods so that the Kerbals can experience at least some sort of gravity during the long voyage. And now jumping forward to the second launch, and this is the refueling craft. And well, this looks very unique, one might say, special for a refueling craft, because actually, frankly speaking, it is just a space plane on top of a rocket with a few boosters. And by the way, just as a small remark, this thing, well, in this launch actually, we have a pretty decent gravity turn, but I'm not quite sure, well, I know why, because of the wing surfaces, but sometimes it just randomly, even whilst pointing or just doing a gentle gravity turn, it just decides to flip the opposite way or the right way, well, flipping, the kind of pitching up until it flips or pitching down until it flips. So it took like 3 approaches, even though the change of input in the very beginning was very, very minor, so that's a bit of a randomness there. But anyways, after matching orbits and doing another rendezvous with the upper part, like I said, after ditching those the booster stage, we can now just close into the docking board after we ditched actually the small tug that we still had there. We just do a nice easy docking here this time. Perfectly fine, everything was good. I haven't wasted too much RCS, and now we were able to use the fuel brought over from the fuel tanker to fill up the colony ship almost fully. So it has still some more capacity for a few 100 units of liquid fuel, but it is pretty much topped off, so yeah. But more on this in probably the next episode. But right now, why have we actually built a space plane? Why have we added some wings to this fuel tanker? Well, obviously to make it reusable, and we're gonna fly it back to the KSC, and that's what we're gonna do right now. We have a regular re-entry, like pretty much with all my SSTOs. For more information, click in the top right corner the SSTO playlist. After we came out of hypercruise, no, not hyperspace. Wow, I think I was watching too many sci-fi shows in the recent time. After supersonic flight, or decelerating from supersonic flight, we do make a small flip maneuver, which was accidental, but that's not that big of a deal, since this craft is surprisingly, for some of you, naturally stable, but it has very high, you can very well influence its angle of attack. But after a small flyback to the KSC, we can gently touch down and engage our brakes and get to a full stop. And with that, we have landed our refueling craft safely on the runway. And with that, the mission is actually completed. I hope you've enjoyed today's video as much as I did doing it. And without further ado, thank you guys very, very much for watching, and until next time, Spaceship signing out.